The first time I saw the Empress of the Aurelian Dominion, she was standing beneath a dome of living crystal, her people's capital heart, pulsing with 1,000 threads of gold light.
She didn't speak.
She didn't need to. Her presence silenced even the most arrogant of alien dignitaries. The Aurelian were a species of beauty and terror, tall, radiant beings with bioluminescent skin that shimmered like oil on water. They had conquered 37 star systems, crushed rebellions with elegance, and yet moved like dancers in liquid light. Humans were the newest members of their empire, or more accurately, their newest subjects. I, Captain Adrian Holt of the Terran Expeditionary Force, was here as a liaison. That was the polite term for the human they let live after the failed Terran-Aurelian War. And she was Empress Selthra, the undisputed ruler of the Aurelian Star Thrones. I stood before her that day, in the Hall of Echoes, among representatives of a dozen subjugated worlds. They all bowed heads low. I bowed too, though not as low as the others. Humans were stubborn like that. She wore a crown of luminous tendrils, glowing faintly blue, and her gaze was fixed on the distance, as though her eyes were watching the future unfold in the void itself. She didn't notice me. Or maybe she did, but I was beneath her attention. Until I said it. The words slipped out, soft and unplanned, barely above a whisper. "Beautiful," I murmured. The chamber fell silent. The Empress turned. Slowly, deliberately. Her golden eyes, pupils shaped like galaxies collapsing inward, fixed on me. I remember her expression. Not anger, not pride, just surprise. As if no one had ever said that to her before. As if the word itself was something alien to her kind. The guards tensed. Energy pikes hummed, ready to disintegrate me in a heartbeat. But she lifted one slender hand, and they froze. "Human," she said. Her voice wasn't sound. It was vibration, something that thrummed through my bones and echoed in my skull. "Repeat what you said." My throat tightened. I said, "You're beautiful." The court gasped. The other ambassadors backed away. I thought I was dead, but instead of rage, the Empress tilted her head, curious. Then she turned and walked away without another word. And just like that, I'd said something that would change everything. The next day, I was summoned to the Aurelian Palace. Not by soldiers, by the Empress herself. My escort, a soft-spoken Aurelian named Nira, seemed nervous. "Do not speak unless spoken to," she whispered. "Do not make eye contact unless invited. And whatever you said yesterday, do not repeat it." "Why?" I asked. "Because," Nira said quietly, "our Empress has never been called beautiful in all her reign. Among our kind, that word is reserved for lesser beings. For decoration, not divinity." I exhaled. Great. So I basically called their god a pretty girl. When I entered her private chamber, it was nothing like I expected. No gold, no thrones, just a massive open garden beneath a transparent dome, filled with bioluminescent vines and silent pools of silver water. The Empress sat beside one of them, barefoot, her long robe trailing into the water. She didn't look at me when she spoke. "You humans are reckless." "Guilty," I said carefully. "You speak without thought. You fight without reason. You feel without restraint. It is dangerous." I couldn't tell if she was insulting me or admiring me. "Then why bring me here?" I asked. She turned then, slowly, that same motion that froze me before, and studied me as if I were some puzzle. "When you said the word, beautiful," she murmured, "I felt something I have never felt before. A resonance, a warmth." Her hand brushed the water, sending ripples of light outward. We Aurelians do not experience emotion as you do, she said softly. Our beauty is functional.
Designed.
Our power inherited. But that word, the way you said it, it made me feel seen. As if I existed beyond the empire. Beyond duty. I took a step closer. Maybe that's what beauty really is. Not something you design. Something you feel. Her golden eyes flickered. Strange. You speak as though you understand our pain. I don't, I admitted. But I understand loneliness. Something changed in her then. A flicker of curiosity, a small softening in her expression that felt human. From that day, I was allowed into her company more often. Always under guard, always formal. But each time she'd ask something new. Why do humans sing? Why do you weep when you lose someone? What does it mean to love? And I answered as best I could. I told her about humanity's chaos, our wars, our art, our laughter, our madness and mercy. She listened, and over time, the distance between us faded. One night, during the Festival of Moons, a celebration older than human civilization, I found her standing on a balcony overlooking the Aurelian capital. The city below glowed like a living nebula. You shouldn't be here alone, I said. She smiled faintly. I am never alone. Every Aurelian thought, every mind, flows through me. I am the collective. That sounds suffocating, I said. She tilted her head. And yet, it is all I have ever known. I hesitated, then whispered, Selthera. Her head snapped toward me. No one had ever dared say her name without title. She didn't speak for a long moment. Then, almost too quietly, say it again, Selthera. Her eyes softened, and I swore her skin dimmed, the radiant glow fading to something almost human. Do you know what that means in your tongue? She asked. I shook my head. It means the one who must never be loved. She stepped closer, close enough that I could feel the energy radiating from her. You are the only one who has ever said my name without fear, she whispered, and the only one who called me beautiful without wanting something in return. Her hand brushed my face, featherlight, electric. In that instant, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The war returns. Peace never lasts. A rebellion erupted on one of the border worlds, a human colony, secretly stockpiling weapons to free themselves from Aurelian rule. The Empress's generals demanded extermination, total annihilation of the planet. But she hesitated. Perhaps, she said, there is another way. They argued. They threatened. And then one of them, General Vake, declared her compromised by human corruption. That night, assassins infiltrated the palace. I woke to alarms and the sound of shattering crystal. Nira burst into my quarters. They're coming for her. I didn't think. I ran. Through smoke-filled corridors, through blinding light. When I reached her chamber, the Empress was surrounded, half her guards dead, the rest overwhelmed. General Vake stood over her, blade drawn. I didn't have a weapon, just instinct. So I did what humans do best. I improvised. I grabbed a fallen guard staff and charged, slamming it into Vake's side. He spun, snarled, struck back with inhuman speed. His blade sliced across my chest, burning through cloth and skin. I fell, choking, bleeding, but in that moment I saw her eyes widen. She screamed. Not words. A pulse of pure power that sent every Aurelian in the room crashing to their knees. Her glow flared white-hot, blinding, cracking the crystal walls. I blacked out. Ending. When I woke, I was on a transport ship, Earth-made by the looks of it. My wounds were healed. The air smelled different, human sterile. A figure stood by my bed, Nira. She saved you, Nira said. She stopped the purge. She stopped the war, but she could not stay. I tried to sit up. Where is she? Nira looked down.
Gone.
She returned to the heart world alone. She said your presence disrupted her bond with the collective. I clenched my fists. So that's it. She left this. Nira handed me a small object, a crystal sphere, glowing faintly gold. When I touched it, it pulsed, and her voice filled my mind. Adrian Holt, you showed me what beauty is, what love might be. I cannot keep you, for I am bound to the stars, and you are bound to your world. But when you look at the night sky, know that one of those lights listens for your voice. Her message faded. Years passed after that. The Aurelians withdrew from human space, signing peace accords that no one expected. They called it the era of soft light. No one knew why their Empress changed her ways, why she chose peace instead of domination. But I did, because one human whispered a word she'd never heard before. Because in a universe of power and perfection, no one had ever told the most radiant being in existence that she was beautiful. And sometimes that's all it takes to change a galaxy.